Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from TheRightTrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. Quite a lot of news today, and overall the market has seen a pretty massive drop over the 24 hours. This morning it was looking particularly bad, and it was really looking like cryptos were about to take a turn for the worse. Now luckily, if we take a look at the charts, and of course we'll go over all of those in more detail in just a second, but we didn't actually lose any uptrend line major support on a lot of these cryptocurrencies, which is great, right? It means that we're still holding up where we want to, and no disasters happened, despite the fact that it was a pretty nasty drop. Now, as you can see, a lot of cryptos went down about 10% across the board, and I'm going to go ahead and go over some news now. So, first bit of huge news really is the fact that Coinbase announced its support for ERC20, and that is pretty massive because while they say here that they count on supporting the ERC20 technical standard, while it may not mean that there's going to be ERC20 tokens fully on the platform just yet, as they say here, this paves the way for supporting ERC20 assets across Coinbase products in the future. And although they aren't announcing any specific support for assets at this time, it's something that could definitely be coming, and that's what they're kind of hinting at here, it seems like. So this is huge news overall for cryptos. It's great for ERC20 tokens, and I can't wait for this to become a reality where we have ERC20 tokens, hopefully trading one day on Coinbase. Now, a bit of bearish news is that LightPay ceased all operations with Litecoin. This is a pretty big blow for Litecoin in the short term. It obviously could have become something great, but there seems to be some problems in that partnership. And in the longer term, I'm not really worried about this at all. Now, another bit of big news that was pretty bearish is that Twitter confirmed the ban on cryptocurrency ads. You've probably seen that a lot of these major corporations are banning cryptocurrency ads. Facebook already did it. Google is counting on doing it. And this just isn't great for the industry overall. It just shows that it could stunt growth down the line, but hopefully it won't affect it too much. Right now, a lot of these companies are definitely banning cryptocurrency ads, however. Don't forget to check me out on Twitter for live cryptocurrency market updates and my premium content. I actually released 4 brand new buying opportunities yesterday, and you can find a link to all of this in the description of this video. But definitely check out my premium content if you're interested. And with that being said, we're going to get started with the technical analysis on Bitcoin. Now, like I said, we did get a pretty big drop, and we found support basically on that $8,000 support level. Our indicators are still pretty intact, not that much going on, we're pretty flat. And the biggest thing that I can mention right now is the fact that we have these Bollinger Bands that are now contracting extremely towards the price. Same thing with the middle band really. And that further confirms that we're going to see more consolidation up until the end of our symmetrical triangle formation, right? Because we're still trading in between our two trend lines, our two pink trend lines over here, and between our $8,000 and $9,000 levels. So at this point, it just seems very likely that we're going to reach the end of our symmetrical triangle formation, and then hopefully we'll break towards the upside, but there is always a chance that we do break towards the downside, right? And we did see some weakness today, so there's no way to tell for sure what's going to happen. It's pretty much 50-50 at this point, except for the fact that we've already experienced a pretty big drop. That's why we can stay hopeful that we will start moving towards the upside. But at this point, it does seem very likely that we're going to see consolidation up until the end of the symmetrical triangle formation. Now, let's take a look at Ethereum and see if it held up pretty well despite the big drop today. Now, unfortunately, Ethereum is looking a little bit worse than Bitcoin here. We actually did break through major support below $500. We're not falling that much lower for now, and we do have support at around $450 that we can still catch ourselves on. So that is a good thing, but we really want to try to not move much lower than that. And I'd say at the very most, to avoid basically a disaster, we don't want to start moving below $420. Indicator, the RSI took a pretty massive hit. Otherwise, MACD and histogram pretty flat, waiting for a crossover. I think that I don't really see us falling, below $420 over the next week or so. But I do think that we're probably going to consolidate a bit here between $450 and $500. For the next week at least. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Litecoin and see what it's been up to. So Litecoin came right on its support at $145, and its uptrend line got a bounce there, so we didn't really move any lower than that. As for the indicators, looking a little bit bearish right now, nothing major though. We'll see. We want to make sure that we don't lose the uptrend line support, because that will be a loss of major support, and that's what's really been holding up the price for all this time. So if we move below that, we should be moving pretty quickly back towards $100. So we have to be careful. And otherwise, if we do manage to trend higher along the uptrend line, we're going to be looking for reaching the end of the formation before getting a break towards either side normally, unless something happens earlier than expected. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at Nano. Nano did drop a little bit here. We ended up losing our 86,000 Satoshi support level and got a bounce at around 80,000, which is also pretty important support right now. So we're now in this tighter range between 80K and 86K. Our downtrend line is also going to be very important as far as resistance is concerned. I don't see Nano breaking out of the downtrend line just yet. I think that we're going to continue to trade below that a bit longer, so should be moving closer to 80,000 Satoshis, and hopefully we don't move below that. If we do, probably going to be moving pretty quickly towards 60 or even 50,000 Satoshis. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ripple now and see what Ripple has been up to. So Ripple lost its 65-cent support level. We're now moving closer towards 50 cents. Indicators very flat right now. We do have a lot of support from the lower Bollinger Band, which isn't dropping that much. That's a good thing. But at this point, it looks like we are going to see some consolidation between 50 and 65 cents. Let's take a look at NEO and see if it's been able to hold up here on today's drop. So we are actually trending lower along the downtrend line. That's pretty much what I expected over the past couple days. And we actually had a nice little bounce on that 30 line on the RSI. That's actually pretty bullish, but I wouldn't expect any type of move towards the upside right now for NEO. I think that we could continue to trickle down a bit lower on the downtrend line, but there's also a very good chance that we start consolidating now, which would be better, really. And our lower Bollinger Band is pretty flat right now, which will allow to give some price the support that it needs to consolidate and not drop further. Let's take a look at our next crypto, which is Stellar now. And Stellar is still in its consolidation between 2,500 and 3,000 Satoshis. Bollinger Band's taking a little bit of a hit here towards the downside. Otherwise, the indicators are still uptrending. So I'd expect some more consolidation for now until we will lose 2,500 Satoshis. Then we could start moving lower. But for now, we're still holding up pretty decently. And let's take a look at Vertcoin, see what's been going on. So Vertcoin is trading right below its downtrend line. Bollinger Band's still pretty tight right now, and indicators are holding up pretty well. I think that it just seems likely that we're not going to manage to get back above $2.20 just yet, and I think we could start to see Vertcoin fall a little bit lower here, but we should stay in this general area a little bit longer as we wait for the general market, especially Bitcoin, to tell us really in which direction we'll be heading next. Now, let's take a look at Lisk and see what Lisk has been up to. So Lisk is currently trading between $12.15 and $10. Our Bollinger Bands and middle band are definitely moving towards the downside right now. So I think that at the very least, we're going to see some consolidation between our two levels here. And there is a possibility that we move closer to that $8 mark if we take one more hit below $10, basically. So that's what we've got to be careful for. Otherwise, we're going to go over to Cardano next. And Cardano is right now slightly dipping below its 2,000 Satoshi level, support level. Our Bollinger Bands are still very flat, which gives us hope that we aren't going to start moving too much below 2,000 Satoshis. But it's tricky here, right? Because it's really on the edge of it. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens if we're going to get some kind of bounce here. We do have some support at 1,700 Satoshis, so could get a bounce there. But we just want to avoid dropping below 2,000 Satoshis really, because that's going to start pushing us quickly towards 1,200 Satoshis. So pretty big drop in store if we're going to start moving lower here. Let's take a look at IOTA for our last cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update, and let's see what's going on. So IOTA is in this very tight range between $1.13 and $1.47. That's further confirmed by the Bollinger Bands, which are extremely contracted towards the price right now. So I think that IOTA is going to have a hard time moving in either direction. It's likely to consolidate in this range a bit longer. With that being said, this is the end of the daily crypto update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.